the Committee on Local Government Accounts as they continue considering the report of the Auditor General on the Constituency Development Fund for the financial year ended 31st December 2024. And earlier on, we were broadcasting this committee and they were interacting with Kalomo Central, thus Kalomo Town Council there. And quite a number of issues have been raised, and the committee chairperson, through his committee, did ask for 2 minutes health break just to have a brief conversation with his membership. And for now, we need to cross over to that committee. And after this committee, I should also make mention that we do have Kazungula that will be appearing before this committee. Keep watching Parliament Television.
Remedial measures, the Council will continue to engage the Ministry of Lands to quicken the process for offer. So we've put the appendix, the evidence under appendix number 4. Going to appendix number 18, failure to fill vacant positions. So the cause of query, the observation of the Auditor General are acknowledged and wish to state that the vacant positions are in the revised structure for town councils and that the staffing levels were sufficient to meet the service delivery and in accordance with the budget. The action taken, management declared the vacant funded positions to the Local Government Service Commission to fill key vacant positions, and that the position of Director Human Resource and Administration has been filled. Remedial measures, management will continue engaging the Local Government Service Commission through submissions of staff returns, which highlight vacant positions. So our evidence is on appendix number 5. Appendix number 19 is on employment. So the cause of query, the observation of the Auditor General are acknowledged and wish to state that that was due to revision of the local authority establishment. In terms of action taken, management wish to report that 6 staff have since been regraded, transferred, and promoted. Remedial measures, management will continue to engage the Local Government Service Commission through submissions of staff returns. We've put our evidence under appendix number 6. Appendix 22, which is delayed confirmation of officers on probation, an account of 1 officer there. So the cause of query, the observation of the Auditor General are acknowledged and wish to state that the delayed confirmation was due to lack of clearance by Zambia Qualification Authority, ZACA. Action taken, the officer has been engaged to seek clearance from Zambia Qualification Authority, ZACA, and the remedial measures, all officers have been notified to seek clearance from Zambia Qualification Authority by the Local Government Service Commission. So we refer to the evidence on appendix number 7. Appendix 26, failure to provide white book for movable assets. An account of 19 movable assets. So the cause of query, the observation of the Auditor General are acknowledged and wish to state that 2 motor vehicles were donated without sufficient documentation by the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development and Ministry of Finance and National Planning, and others did not have sufficient documentation. However, 9 movable assets have red books and 1 has the white book. Action taken, management wish to report that the process of obtaining white books with the Road Transport and Safety Agency is in the progress. Remedial measures, management to ensure that all movable assets have white books. So we've put our evidence under appendix number 8. In terms of appendix number 30, which is properties without title deed, the observation of the Auditor General are acknowledged and wish to state that properties do not have title deeds. The properties that do not have title deeds, because of the delay in numbering by the Ministry of Local Government, Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources, action taken, management wish to report that the council has submitted all the council properties that are not to the Ministry of Local. I don't know why I'm talking about local government. Chairs, Ministry of Lands for titling. Remedial measure, management will ensure that all assets owned by the council, the local authority, are titled. We'll put our evidence under appendix number 9. Coming to appendix number 31 on uninsured assets. So the cause of query, the observation of the Auditor General acknowledged and wish to state that 5 motorbikes which are non-runners and 5 properties which are air conditioning equipment are not operational. Action taken, management wish to report that the motor vehicle registration ABP 6064 has been insured and 5 council properties and 5 motorbikes have been considered for disposal. Remedial measures, management will ensure that all movable assets are timely insured. The evidence is on appendix number 10. Appendix number 32, which is non-maintenance of properties. So the cause of query, the observation of the Auditor General are acknowledged and wish to state that the non-maintenance of council property was due to the fact that Masem Guest House and Masem Night Club has been earmarked for demolition and reconstruction. The management wish to report, in terms of action taken, the management wish to report that the construction of Masem Guest House and Night Club has been factored in the 2026 council budget. Remedial measures, management will ensure that all council properties are maintained. So we've put our evidence under appendix number 11. Appendix 34, non-disposal of serviceable movable assets. This is in respect of motor vehicles, 3 of them. The cause of query, observation of the Auditor General are acknowledged and wish to state that the non-disposal of unserviceable movable assets was due to delay in commencing the process of disposal as the local authority was considering repairing. Action taken, management wish to report that the disposal process of obsolete and non-serviceable motor vehicles has commenced with the constitution of the disposal committee in place. Remedial measures, management will ensure that all obsolete motor vehicles are disposed of within the required time frame. We have evidence under appendix number 12. Appendix 38, poor management of waste. And the observation there is failure to fence the dump site. Cause of query, the observation of the Auditor General are acknowledged and wish to state that the failure to fence the dump site at Makalachambwe was because it has not been inspected by Zambia Environmental Management Agency, ZEMA. Action taken. Management wished to state that the local authority has since written to ZEMA, Zambia Environmental Management Authority, ZEMA, requesting for inspection of the proposed dump site land before formulation of environmental project brief, as stipulated in the Zambia Environmental Management Act of 2011 and the Solid Waste Regulation and Management Act of 2018. Remedial measures, management to ensure that the dump site is fenced. We have our evidence under appendix number 13. Coming to appendix 41, non-settlement of statutory and other obligation. So the cause of query, the observation of the Auditor General are acknowledged and wish to state that the non-settlement of statutory and other obligation was due to financial constraint. The breakdown as analyzed as it in the table. But I wish to state that in terms of action taken, management wish to report that a total sum of 4.311,426 was paid towards statutory obligation as broken down in the table below. So you notice that there is a reduction from the one that is on top to the one that we are now looking at. So management will continue liquidating the outstanding statutory obligations depending on the availability of funds. We have our evidence on appendix number 14. Appendix 42 is non-settlement of staff obligation in the sum of 5.125. Because of query, the observation of the Auditor General are acknowledged and wish to state that non-settlement of staff obligation was due to financial constraint associated with narrow revenue base. Action taken, management wishes to report that a total sum of 2,004,568 has been paid towards the settlement of the staff obligation. You note from the table there that there is really some effort to actually deal with the terminal benefit setting in allowance and the levy travel. In terms of remedial measures, management will continue liquidating the outstanding staff obligation subject to availability of funds. So our evidence is on appendix number 15. Appendix number 44, lack of firefighting equipment. The cause of query, the observation of the Auditor General acknowledged and wished to state that the local authority could not procure firefighting equipment due to budget constraint, as firefighting equipment are a significant capital project. Action taken, management requested for the equipment from the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development. The major measures, management to ensure and endeavor firefighting equipment are provided for the district. We've put the evidence under appendix number 16. Appendix 45, which is uninsured firefighters, the case of 5 firefighters. Cause of query, the observation of the Auditor General are acknowledged and wish to state that the uninsured officers was due to delays in the procurement of assurance process. Action taken, management has since insured the firefighters. And the major measures, management will continue to ensure that insurance company assures all the fire officers. We have that on appendix number 17. Appendix number 46, lack of personal protective equipment. Cause of query, the observation of the Auditor General are acknowledged and wish to state that the lack of personal protective equipment for firefighters at the time of audit was that the local authority was in the process of procuring. And action taken, management wish to report that it has procured personal protective equipment for firefighters, and the procurement of more personnel equipment has been the 2026 budget. Remedial measures, management will continue to procuring protective equipment on an annual basis. We have evidence on appendix number 18. Appendix 48, unspent funds sector grant account. Cause of query, the observation of the Auditor General are acknowledged and wish to state that that was due to funds held on account of committed sector programs. In terms of action taken, management has since utilized the funds as shown in the schedule of payment that is stipulated on appendix number 19. So in terms of remedial measures, management will ensure that funds are utilized in accordance with committed sector programs and activities. So we have evidence on the same appendix number 19. Appendix 49, management of cash for work. So the cause of query there is the observation of the auditors are acknowledged and wish to state that the total of 9.711,652 was unspent during the time of audit due to the funds being disbursed to the council late. Furthermore, works were ongoing and only paid to beneficiaries once the works are done and certified. Action taken. Management has since spent the funds and documents are available for verification. The major measures management to ensure funds are utilized according to committed programs and activities. So we have evidence on Appendix 20. Appendix 53, Unspent Funds Zambia Devolution Support Program. Because of clearly the observation of the Auditor General, I acknowledged and wish to state that this was due to a late receipt of the funds. Management has since spent the funds and documents are available for verification. Management to ensure, in terms of remedial measures, management to ensure that the funds are utilized according to committed programs and activities. So this is evidenced at Appendix number 21. We've attached the ledgers, the payment vouchers, and the bank statement. Chair, that will do for a summary of the presentation from ITEZHI.
Well, thank you so much, CS, for your responses with regard to the audit. I will now invite honorable members of parliament who may have questions, observations in response to the presentation that has been given by Testers Council. So, Honorable Chan.
Thank you, Chair. I want to take you to Appendix 18, where to fill the vacant position. Also, I want to marry them with Appendix 9 of employment of staff. I'm interested in your last statement where you are saying that the staffing levels were sufficient to meet the service delivery, and that's where I'm interested in accordance to the budget. Okay? Appendix 18, according to the budget. Overemployment. Okay? You had the vacant position, 5. Number of officers, 13. Overemployment, that's 8. Staff cost implication, 1,478,957. Now I want to find out something on the first question, Appendix 18, failure to fill the vacancy. You were saying you had no sufficient money to request more officers because you are providing service to our people there. For you, you are comfortable. But when you received these 13 officers, immediately you had to put them on payroll. And this is the implication, cost implication. When we would have allowed probably or requested more officers in other positions, but you had to put these officers 8. Position 5, 13, implication 1,478,000. What explanation can you give to this committee? Why, when you received these 13 officers, and immediately you had to put them on payroll, when you knew that you had only the 5 positions? My question to you is, who is going to pay this money? Want this money to be claimed? Whom should we cite to say, here, you erred? And the other question is, why did you not surrender these people, these officers, to where they came from, the commission, to say we have no position? Our position are only 5. Can you explain?
Okay, thank you so much. CS, I think the honorable member's question is very clear. Kindly help us to appreciate the logic.
Thank you, Chair. So in terms of our response, we note that there was an establishment that was known and was used by the council, but there is also a new revised establishment that has just come in. So from the angle that the council is looking at, they actually used the one that they had initially, and so when we look at the one from the Local Government Service Commission, there are those disparities. So in terms of those 13 officers that were sent to TEZHI, all we can do is to admit them, but continue engaging with the Local Government Service Commission so that they are able to either take them to other councils, but we do not have the power to send them. Remember, the power to recruit staff in the local government service is actually that of the Local Government Service Commission. So we do staff returns every quarter, and that staff return does remind the local government service on what is on the ground.
So CS, when did the new establishment come into effect versus when those circumstances were prevailing? HR, can you answer?
The new establishment came into effect in 2024.
And when was this audit?
It's a 2024 audit.
Okay, boss, I'm also wondering, CS, I don't know, how do you work with the commission? You received Violet Musenge. She came to arrive. She found there were already 3 people sitting on her position. Again, you received Kasaro something. She arrived. She found there were already 2 people sitting on the same position. So how, are you also telling us that when you submit your staff returns to the commission, they do not pay attention to them? They just send it anyhow. Is that what you are telling us?
It will be very difficult to answer yes on that. We actually think that they do look at them, but remember we are dealing with a local government that has got 116 local authority. So we think that in time they'll be able to deal with our staff returns and the content thereof.
Council Secretary, is it so difficult the way you have responded to say, we know that it's not your mandate to recruit these officers. We know it. But when you receive them, you're supposed to look at it to say, how am I going to put these people on the payroll? Because there you are tied with the budget. On the filling of the positions, you are talking of the budget. You looked at your budget that we are managing. But when you received these 8 people extra, you had to put them. Where did you find the money to put them on the payroll? But you cannot surrender them to the commission. Is it so difficult, or you are told not to? As long as they come, there is no position, you don't mind, you don't care, it's government money, someone will sit there without doing anything, he starts drawing the salary, and I'm sure up to now, probably, they are still drawing the salary. What is the status? Thank you, Chair.
Yes, take note of. Is it related, sir? Yes, Honorable.
Thank you, Chair. CS, I think from what our Chair just asked you, it's like you deviated a bit, you swerved I think you have the answer. Now, maybe let me just ask you this. Are you mandated or are you forced to just employ, even if you know that those positions have been filled already when you receive those people? Thank you.
Yes.
Chair, we're not forced. We normally have discussions, but I think sometimes it will take a little bit of some time because of the processes. But I want to state that even from here, we'll be able to write the Local Government Service Commission to ensure that this is dealt with. The representative, I'm sure, is also acknowledging the hardship we are having to answer. So I hope that they will also be able to very quickly deal with the numbers so that we can come to the normal numbers we need to have.
Okay, CS, in your responses, you have written to say that the staffing levels, they were sufficient to meet the service delivered in accordance to the budget. You are supposed to have 201 officers. You have 124 who are filled in. So when I look at this statement where you are arguing that with the current staffing you have, you are able to provide sufficient services, then I beg to differ. This statement, I want you to qualify it. Are you telling me that with the officers you have, you are collecting enough revenue, you are providing roads, you are providing garbage services, your officers are not overwhelmed? Because you are arguing that the staffing levels are sufficient despite having this deficit of 77. So help us to appreciate that, because when the public hears that you are saying that we have sufficient staff which is providing desired services, I think that is to the contrary. And are you also telling us that TEZHI staff establishment should be degraded from having 201, we just bring it to 124? Because that is what you can afford and that is what is giving you optimum service delivery to the people. Is that what this statement means? Just help us to understand what your argument is here.
Chair, the actual establishment as per the Local Government Service Commission was supposed to be 201, but we need to work extremely hard as ITEZHI stage to be able to improve our revenue base, because before we do that, 201 will just be excess luggage that will not be able to manage, because we still have to struggle with the 124. So the statement really is looking at the level of money and income that we have at the moment. But we can optimally use the ones that we have now to be able to improve the revenue base. Then we can talk about issues of expanding our establishment. I thought we were looking at it from that angle, Chair.
So is your revenue base improving? What was your budget, DF? What was your budget in 2024? What is your budget in 2023? What is your projected budget in 2026? Are you able to give us off cuff how your budget, how your revenue budget has been going up over there, so that we now admit that there is improvement? What was your budget in 2024, 25, and what is your projected budget in 2026?
Yeah, thank you very much, Chair. So maybe just working with the budget that has already been provided in the report that we are looking at, that is on page 4. In 2024, that is, I'll speak in terms of locally generated revenues, because in most cases, that is what affects our performance in terms of having to top up on the local government regulation fund so that we are able to pay salaries. So in 2024, we had the 10,478,397. Then in 2025, it has increased from 10 to 15 million 727 103. Then also owing to the increment in terms of property rates for 2026, There's also an increment in terms of percentage. We are talking of somewhere around 20%. That is in terms of locally generated revenue. Thank you very much, Chair.
Okay, thank you so much. Yes, Honorable.
You haven't answered my question. On 13 officers against 5 positions. Okay? I wanted to find out whether it's difficult when you receive such officers and then you only have 5 positions. Okay? What is the status as at now?
Okay.
Are they still on payroll? If so, what is it that they are doing? Can you explain to this committee what these officers are doing for them to be getting this managed? Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. CS, kindly just help the Honorable to understand what is the status of those 13 officers. Have they been cleared off? Are they still getting the money? What's the status quo?
Thank you, Chair. So in terms of our response, we actually said that the 6 staff out of the 13 have actually been regraded. Some have been transferred and others promoted.
Okay. The other question, CS, on the white books, the letters that I've seen here where you're asking for white books, they were written in 2026, if I'm not mistaken. What is the standard procedure for the council when you receive any property? Did you have to wait for the audit to process the change of ownership? What is the standard procedure?
Chair, we want to just acknowledge that we could have slept. We should have done this in record time. The documentation are actually the proof of ownership of any property, and probably we just need to assure this honorable house that we will endeavor to do this timeously whenever we either buy or have a donated vehicle to ourselves. It wasn't the best way to do things, Chair.
And what's the status now?
In terms of the status, I will request, but I think we have secured some documentation. I will request the director, human resource, to give us the status.
The status at the moment is that the vehicles were inspected and we are awaiting for reports from RATSA and Zambia police.
So when do we see those vehicles? Because we are asking these questions. We don't want to see these audits next year. So if you give us a blank statement and there's no assurance that we shall not have this anomaly again, then we're not helping you. Yes. If the government agencies that are supposed to help you, they're not helping you, tell us here that we have a problem with the commission. We have a problem with the local government. Even if we write, they will not respond to us. Because they will also come and appear here. So, the HR, are you giving us an assurance that next time we'll not have these vehicles appearing in the audit?
Yes, Chair, we are assuring you that that will be resolved before the appearance.
Okay. Another question? Yes, or maybe allow Honorable Kandafra, then we'll come to you now.
Okay. Thank you, Chair. Let me draw it as TEZHI to page 11, poor management of waste. To page 11, appendix 38, poor management of waste. I just want a clarification, clarity indeed, because when I look at the submissions and the response, and then also when I look at appendix 13, where you just recently wrote a letter to Zema. First question, this dump site which was not fenced, is it the same dump site which you have said we have acquired to Zema under this chief, or is a different dump site? And then even this very dump site, if it's not the same, for how long has it been there without being fenced? Meaning it was an illegal thing. Maybe that's why I couldn't even fence it. Just need clarity over this.
CS help us to appreciate the status of this dump site in Makalachambwe. How long has it been in existence? And is it the same one you are referring here? The one you have been given by the chief?
Maybe Director Planning is going to give some...
Yes, Director Planning, kindly respond.
Thank you. So, yes, indeed, this is the same dump site. So, there are two processes here. The first one was acquisition of the land from the traditional leadership, which has been done. Thereafter, we are supposed to follow the procedure of having Zema come through to conduct an inspection, and also a requirement on our part after Zema conducts an inspection that we do an environmental project brief. After Zema processes are exhausted, only then can we fence the dump site. So
now, CS again, the letter that you wrote to Zema was written in 2026.
Maybe I can.
So, are you also telling us that when did the idea of this dump site come into effect?
Through the chair.
Yes.
Yes. So we had written an initial letter and emailed a letter to Zema.
When was that?
Last year. So when we did not get a response, we did a follow-up letter which we had to deliver by hand, so that we could get a letter which was showing that it was actually received by Zema.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So has Zema come to inspect that dump site?
No, they have not come through.
So currently, where are we dumping?
We are using the same Makalachambwe site.
The one which is not fenced?
The one which is not fenced.
Yes, Honorable.
Director. No. Director, when you say the one which is not fenced, I think I wanted you to use a better word than the one which is not fenced. An illegal dump site. That will satisfy me. Thank you.
So, CS, how does it feel that we are putting the lives of the people at risk? You are aware that from Makalachambwe, the water goes in the dam. So how does that make you feel as a council secretary? Do we have a director for health here? We have the legal officer here. If somebody was going to sue the council for polluting the dam, a legal counsel, what would be your response? How would you respond as a legal counsel if you are polluting the ITEZHI dam at the moment? You have a dump site which is not fenced, and you report for work every day and you knock off.
Chair, on that one, we will entirely take the blame, because we did not do what we were supposed to do. I think the delay from Zema also contributed to this, though we cannot entirely blame Zema. We will take the blame and take the necessary steps that we're supposed to take so that the dam site is finished.
Okay. Yes, Honorable Munashavan, you can also introduce your good name.
Yes, thank you very much, Chair. My name is Munashavan Timelda, Member of Parliament for ITEZHI constituency in Zambia district of Southern Province. CS, my question is from Appendix 32. You have submitted that the property in question was earmarked for demolition and reconstruction, whose budget has been factored in 2026. CS, what assurance are you giving this committee that you will manage to reconstruct the demolished building? And what proof do you have? And what is the status of that matter right now?
Thank you so much, Honorable. That is on on appendix number 32, right? Yes. Yeah, so CS, understand, you have mentioned that these properties, the Masemo Guest House and the Kasemo Night Club. Which one is Kasemo Night Club?
Chair, is supposed to be Masemu Nightclub.
Oh, okay. So the Honorable is asking to say, please, you are saying it will be in the 2026 budget. I think I've seen it in your heart. Just help us to understand. How long has it been dilapidated, like she's asking? What is the assurance that it will be in this budget? You have a follow-up question on the same? Okay, maybe we'll come back. Let them just finish so that we satisfy Honorable. Help us to understand the background. How long has it been there? What assurance? How sure are you that it will be in the budget? And is that your source of revenue as a council, or you have other sources of revenue?
Thank you, Chair. So the Masemu Night Club and the Masemu Guest House are actually older than the council itself. Before ITEZHI was established as a council in 1997, those guest houses were actually being used initially as office block. They were temporal blocks that were built during the Implogilo and Leach Company that did the dam around 1977. And so the council endeavored to make them look like offices, and at some point they were converted into a lodge. As for the nightclub, that was built obviously by Namwala many years ago. They've since really lived their useful time, and the best that can be done is to just put them down and build another modern lodge and modern nightclub. I give the assurance to this August House that that has been factored in the 2026 budget, and we want to ensure that that is constructed within this year. Thank you.
Yes, I think there was a yes, Honorable.
Has it been demolished?
Has it been demolished?
Not yet.
So, yes, I think there was a point when the same building was advertised. If I'm not mistaken, you correct me if I'm wrong. There was a time that a contractor was found and it was advertised. Which monies were those and what could have happened? If I'm wrong, you tell me that is very wrong.
You mean for construction?
For rehabilitating it.
Thank you, Chair. Actually, they said the property was advertised and all the process was done. When we reached the final stage, unfortunately, the funds which were earmarked for the same were not made available by then.
Which funds were those, sir?
Initially, we were supposed to have used the funds from ZESCO. We were told that we shall use funds from ZESCO. Now, when there was a delay, unfortunately, we were unable to proceed. But we reached the final stage of awarding.
So was it in the budget for that year?
Yes, it was.
Now that it was budgeted, then where did the money go? If it was budgeted.
Thank you very much. Yeah, maybe in terms of the funding, the major component was actually supposed to come from property rates, but at some time the amounts that we received as property rates from ZESCO, a certain amount was was garnished. At the time we were budgeting, we basically did not foresee that. Yeah.
Okay, yes, Honorable.
CS, I would like to find out what is the relationship between the demolishing and the reconstruction. Do you want to demolish on the same piece of land, or you can find other pieces of land where you want to put this property? Is it being demolished so that the new property will sit on the same? And also, I asked Chair of proof that there will be there's a budget allocation for 2026.
Thank you very much, Chair. So this property is going to sit on an existing plot, so we will need to demolish and reconstruct. So, and again, in terms of the way the works are going to be done, we are also going to phase it so that we do not demolish everywhere, only build on a certain. But I can also give a word for it here that we also had a meeting with ZESCO some 1 week ago, and they've assured us of releasing the money in the first week of April, so we'll be able to get started. So the meeting was about 5-6 days ago. We hope that we'll not be talking and not acting on this one. I thank you.
So the OMP is asking on CS to say, in your budget for 2026, demonstrate that you are going to put that property. I've seen your breakdown here. How much was the contract that you had wanted to give? And when you tell us the amount that it was advertised for, is it fitting in the budget you have done for 2026? I think that is what is also trying to find out.
So the Director of Finance is going to show us the budget. We have a copy. We have done that. The phasing. I don't know whether we
the first budget is the first budget also. I haven't seen the first budget. I've seen the gross amount. Is it presented somewhere where it shows that property that it will be rehabilitated? Yes, dear Director.
Thank you very much, Chair. So in terms of the first budget, since it wasn't part of the query, so we have not included it. But what we have included is an extract of the budget for 2026. Thank you very much, Chair.
So you don't have the detailed. I think he's asking to say what assurance is there that it will be there. You don't have the detail that shows it being budgeted for, right?
Chair, in terms of 2026,
yes,
we have that assurance by the extract of the budget that we have attached on the same appendix, which is Appendix 11.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Chair.
Okay, there was another question from Honorable.
Thank you. They asked my last question on Appendix 46, lack of personal protective equipment. Council Secretary, in your submission, you have stated that the authority was in the process of procuring the protective equipment. Now, I want to find out, before the auditor, what were they using? Or why did you not procure? But when the auditor came, I don't know whether you had shown the auditor papers that no, these things are in the process. 2021, 2022, 2023, this was 2024. This is the time you are telling this committee that it was in the process. What happened? Thank you, Chair.
Yes.
Chair, I may request help from procurement.
Yes, procurement.
Thank you, Chair. I may wish to inform this meeting that initially we never had the firefighters. We only had firefighters from 2023. All along, the council had no firefighters.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it satisfying, Honorable?
Yeah. The other question is, why should you be reminded? 2023, you had employed those officers, but they were working without such government. Why do you want to be reminded not to do what you're supposed to do as a council?
Yeah, so seriously, the question is raising those, ITEZHI is in the park, there are accidents on the water, there are all those issues. So the question is, you are supposed to provide leadership as a council, safety of your staff. So he's asking to say, why did it have to take the audit to remind you that your officers need to be protected? Your officers need to be insured. They were not insured. Even the letter for insurance is dated 2025 after the audit. So don't we have systems that could just flow on their own without an audit? Do you have an auditor here? So you report for work and these things are just there. Maybe we might want to respond. The auditor. I think these are things you're supposed to do, right? What could be the challenge, sir?
Chair, as it has already been explained, recommendations would be there, but I think it's because of the availability of funds. Maybe that's when usually these systems will take long to unfold.
Okay. So I'm sure we'll take that issue serious and ensure that we exhaust it. Then CS, on your deliverable, you had proposed that you are going to name the streets. But honestly, you recorded 0 on that target, despite putting it as your target. How does naming the streets, what budget is required to name streets? How do you explain that you scored 0 on this target of naming streets? Just you naming one street, Honorable Twambo Mutinta, you name the other one Mr. Chembo, the other one Mr. How difficult is that?
Chair, that shouldn't be a very difficult assignment. We had allowed the community to be able to give us the names of significance within their locality. That would be names of important people, important places, and so efforts to have those meetings with the community failed. So we think that we need to take this with a lot of speed in order that this is expedited. Surely this one is not one we should proudly get a 0 out of.
Okay, any other questions, honorable members? Maybe the last one, CS, apart from the guest house, what other income generating activities do you have as a council? Are you just a consumptive council that just waits for equalization? Are you just going to wait for equalization? How are you generating income for the council? You are in the Kafue National Park, you have water there. We were hearing stories last week from the vice chair that in Zambia, right? The council is owning whether it's a boat and a lodge. So just help us to appreciate also what, as a council, you are doing as a form of income generation. You need all the 20 whatever staff to be employed. There's no argument about it. And you need to pay them. By the way, there are negotiations going on. They are demanding for high rise these council staff. So there's no negotiation. So you need to feed in the entire establishment. Apart from equalization, you should have sources of revenue. So just help us to know what your planning is. Maybe if there's evidence in your budget to say next year we are starting this business, so that we generate resources for service delivery and also to manage the staff.
Thank you, Chair. I will say a little. The DF and others may also chip in. I think ITEZHI is a very beautiful town with a lot of resources that it is endowed with. we have the river, we have the lake, and we also have a lot of tourism that is booming there. So there are lodges there. But besides that, we have also plenty of fish. If you went to ITEZHI now, you find a lot of fish. And I think that what I have seen in my 2 weeks of being there is that a lot of fish traders have actually been going unleavened, so we need to maximize on that. We also have places that sometimes get cut off, like Banamwaze, Kabulungwe. Fish traders are just traveling to Mumbwa, and we get very little out of it. But I've also noticed that we need to take stock of our cattle endowment. Whereas we have 1 or 2 abattoirs around, a lot of people are actually taking their animals to Namwala. We need to ensure that there is a declaration of origin there, so that the cattle levies that are accrued to ITEZHI are actually supposed to be paid to us. So we want to ensure that all those are harnessed. Besides that, we also want to ensure that the council lodge as well as the nightclub is built this year, in order to also improve our revenue base. We think that we cannot be suffering so much. We are quite a fair town that can still be able to continue to exist with a bit of on-source revenue improvement. Maybe the DF and the immediate outgoing CS could also be having 1 or 2 additions.
Maybe outgoing, you left certain plans in a minute.
Yes, there are some plans, some of which have been mentioned, but I have to mention to you, Honorable Chair, to say ITEZHI is not just a tourism destination, as CS has put it. It's a power generating destination, and because of that, as a local authority, we use our endowment to attract some investment. You are very much aware that we might be running one of the biggest solar plant in the country. I think 260 hectares of land has been done, and the investor has advanced. To us, that is not just an investment; it's also an income for us, because from there we'll get rates. From there we'll provide employment. We'll get some levies. So we have generally marketed the district in terms of specific endowment we have. And we are robustly fighting for a position on the beef export. And we are grateful that government has responded to that, and we have been aided to be mobile. We have a vehicle now, and we will be very soon be declared as a disease-free zone, and that will also add to us as CS has put. So these are indirect way we are going to pay levies and taxes as a regulator. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, thank you so much. We are, unless honorable members have any burning question, I think we are running out of time. We want to conclude by asking CS with your team that some of the issues that came out of this audit, they are not necessary. These are the issues that you can always address and ensure that they are, you don't necessarily come and appear. So I want to remind you that you need to improve on your governance and operational weaknesses, such as the weak performance in your locally generated revenue, and also your failure to correct some revenue, such as the port premiums, indicating weaknesses in revenue administration. I've seen the addendum. We have recruited these people, whether they are employment of levies or these people collect levies. Yeah, also your failure to your human resource challenges, HR. Let's work on those. Let's not just receive a bunch of people. They're just arriving from nowhere. Then you put them on a payroll, like Honorable was saying. That's not right. Yes, it strains your basket. So we work on that one. The weak asset management practices, these uninsured vehicles and and also the vehicles without white books. Let's check on that. The poor waste management. Yes, you are polluting the Kafue River. So that dump site issue has to be resolved as soon as possible. And also your staff and the statutory obligations. In the next 1 year, Mr. Chembo will be retiring. So we'll see how he will be paid. So let's think on how these issues can be dismantled. You still have a 3 million balance. I think I was checking somewhere towards one of the payments you need to do to the staff. So I think all in all, we wish you well. And the immunity which was conferred to you, we'll take it away now. Otherwise, we wish you all the best. Yeah, and travel well back home. Thank you so much.
We just want to say thank you for the able manner you chaired, and we want to also assure you that we'll do everything within our power. But just to announce that we are making an advert for plots, and you as Zambians here must come and invest in ITEZHI. Actually, a lot of people have not been to that beautiful town. I don't know why. If you had to count with your arm from 1 to 5 in terms of the best destinations in Zambia, I'm sure you will not get to 5 before you mention ITEZHI. So that's how beautiful it is. And we want to encourage our Zambian parliamentarians, Office of the Auditor General, the clerk, that let's invest in ITEZHI. I thank you for that opportunity.
Thank you so much, CS, and we'll continue encouraging our colleagues, provided the place will come with immunity, right? Yeah, thank you so much.
Parliament television. You've just been watching to the Committee on Local Governance, Housing and Chiefs Affairs, interacting with the TEZHI Town Council there. And earlier on, we did hear and see the Gwembe Town Council also making appearance before this committee. We still have 2 more witnesses to appear before this committee, and the next witness is Namwala Town Council. And also, we expect quite a number of issues to be raised regarding the utilization of resources at that administration from that local authority. And like you heard from the chairperson of that committee, they did they did raise quite a number of issues. The committee has considered the submission relating to the Auditor General's report on the operations of TEZHI Town Council for the financial year ended 31st December 2024, and while the council received an unqualified audit option, the audit findings review weaknesses in audit option to audit findings review weaknesses in revenue mobilization, asset management, human resource administration, and financial management. And also under the governance and operational weakness, the committee also did say that the weak performance in locally generated revenue, despite measures introduced to enhance collections, failure to achieve several operational targets, including plot allocations and rehabilitation of community boreholes. So those and many other issues that the committee raised, and they've been guided on how to proceed next time for them to reduce on the audit queries. And like I mentioned earlier on, we still have 1 more witness to come and appear before this committee, and this is the Namwala Town Council, which is already in the precinct of Parliament here, buildings, and anytime from now we should be able to cross back to that committee. My sign language interpreter this afternoon is Chola Akauma. Do remember that at 14:30 we'll have live parliamentary proceedings. Members of Parliament are back in Lusaka, those of that left to go and commemorate Youth Day and Women's Day. If you remember very well, last week or the other week, the standing orders were suspended to enable members of parliament travel to various constituencies and be with their constituents. So they're back, and today we expect business to resume at 14:30. My name is Paul Sentendovi. We'll take a short break. Once the committee reconvenes, we'll be able to cross back to that committee. Keep watching Parliament Television. Good afternoon.